Hey everybody, this is Mrs. Doyle. I have a story that I would like to share with you guys today. It is called Bartholomew and the Oobleck, and it is written and illustrated by Dr. Seuss, whose birthday we celebrated at the beginning of the month of March. I always love to share this story with my kindergarten kiddos, but we didn't have time to get to it this year, so I am bringing it to you now. They still talk about it in the kingdom of Did, as the year the king got angry with the sky. And they still talk about the page boy, Bartholomew Cubbins. If it hadn't been for Bartholomew Cubbins, that king and that sky would have wrecked that little kingdom. Bartholomew had seen the king get angry many times before. But that year, when His Majesty started growling at the sky, Bartholomew Cubbins just didn't know what to make of it. Yet all that year, the old king did it. All year long, he stared up into the air above his kingdom, muttering and sputtering through his royal whiskers. The things that come down from my sky. All spring, when the rain came down, he growled at that. All summer, when the sunshine came down, he growled at that. All autumn, when the fog came down, he growled at that. And that winter, when the snow came down, he started shouting, "This snow, this fog, this sunshine, this rain, bah! These four things that come down from my sky." "But King Derwin," Bartholomew tried to calm him, "you've always had these same four things come down." "That's just the trouble," bellowed the king. "Every year the same four things. I'm mighty tired of those old things. I want something new to come down." Then, finally, late one night, when all the lords and ladies of the palace were fast asleep, just as the king was buttoning his royal nightshirt, he suddenly stopped still. A strange, wild light began to shine in his gray-green eyes. "Why, of course," he began laughing. "They can do it for me, Bartholomew Cubbins. Blow my secret whistle, quick! Call my royal magicians." "Oh, your magicians, your majesty?" Bartholomew shivered. "Oh, no, your majesty, don't call them." "You hold your tongue, Bartholomew Cubbins. You do as I command you. Blow my secret whistle." "Yes, sire," Bartholomew bowed. "But your majesty, I think that you may be very sorry." He took the king's secret whistle from its secret hook. He blew a long, low blast down the king's back secret stairway. And a moment later, he heard them coming up. "I wish," spoke the king, "to have you make something fall from my skies that no other kingdom has ever had before. What can you do? What will you make?" For a moment they stood thinking, blinking their creaky eyes. Then they spoke a word, one word. "Oobleck." "Oobleck?" asked the king. "What will it look like?" "Won't look like rain, won't look like snow, won't look like fog, that's all we know. We just can't tell you any more. We've never made Oobleck before." They bowed, they started toward the door. "We go now to our secret cave on Mystic Mountain Nicotave. There, all night long, we'll work for you, and you'll have Oobleck when we're through." "They'll do something crazy," whispered Bartholomew. "Call them back, your majesty. Stop them." "Stop them? Not for a ton of diamonds," chuckled the king. "Why, I'll be the mightiest man that ever lived. Just think of it. Tomorrow I'm going to have Oobleck." It took Bartholomew a long time to get the excited king to sleep that night, but there was no sleep for Bartholomew the page boy. All night long he stood in the king's window, staring out at the mystic mountain Nicotave. Somewhere up there, Bartholomew knew the magicians were working their terrible magic. Dawn was just breaking, and Bartholomew was still standing, trembling, watching at the bedchamber window. But now as the sun rose, Bartholomew smiled. Those silly magicians hadn't done a thing. Then, suddenly, Bartholomew Cubbins stopped smiling. Was he seeing things? No, there was something strange up there in the sky. At first, it seemed like a little greenish cloud, just a wisp of greenish steam. But now it was coming lower, closer, down toward the fields and the farms and houses of the sleeping little kingdom. It was swirling around the topmost turrets of the palace. Tiny little greenish specks were shimmering in the air, right over his head. "Wake up, your majesty," he shouted. "Your Oobleck, it's falling." The king sprang out of his royal bed sheets. "By my royal whiskers, it is," he cried. "Oh, that beautiful Oobleck, and it's mine, all mine. The bigger the better. What a day! I'm going to make it a holiday. I want every man, woman, and child in my kingdom to go out and dance in my glorious Oobleck." "Do you really think it's safe, sire?" asked Bartholomew. "Stop asking foolish questions," snapped the king. "Boy, you run to my royal bell tower. Wake my royal bell ringer and tell him to ring the great holiday bell. His Majesty the King proclaims today a holiday." The old man crawled out of his cot. He grabbed the bell rope. "What's the holiday for, Bartholomew?" "Oh, you'll find out soon enough," said Bartholomew. The bell ringer yanked the rope. Nothing happened. He yanked it harder. Still nothing happened. "Huh? What's wrong with my bell?" he murmured. "I'd better take a look outside." He poked his head out through the little trap door. "Merciful gracious!" he gulped. "What is that? All over my bell like greenish molasses." "Not only your bell," Bartholomew cried. "Look at that poor robin down there in that tree. She's stuck to her nest. She can't move a wing. That Oobleck's gooey. It's gummy. It's like glue." Bartholomew stopped. He could go no farther. The awful Oobleck was plumping down as big as greenish footballs now. Too late to warn the people of the kingdom. There were farmers in the fields getting stuck to hoes and plows. Goats were getting stuck to ducks. Geese were getting stuck to cows. Outside the palace, it was piling up. Great greenish tons of Oobleck, deeper and deeper on every roof in the land. There was nothing Bartholomew Cubbins could do out there. Shaking his head sadly, he stepped back inside. But inside, a moment later, it was just as bad as out. With an angry roar, the Oobleck was suddenly hitting the palace harder. It was battering and splattering against the walls, as big as greenish buckets full of gooey asparagus soup. Like a sinking sailboat, the whole palace was springing leaks. The Oobleck was ripping the windows right off their hinges. It was dripping through the ceilings. It was rolling down the chimneys. It was coming in everywhere, even through the keyholes. From every bedroom in the palace came the howls of lords and ladies. Frightened in their nightgowns, they came jumping to their doors. "Go back to your beds. Get under your blankets," Bartholomew Cubbins went crying through the halls. but nobody paid the slightest attention. Everyone in the palace started rushing madly about. The royal cook rushed down to the royal kitchen. Bartholomew Cubbon saw him trapped there, stuck to 3 stew pots, a teacup, and a cat. Then suddenly, midst the hubbub, Bartholomew gasped, "The king! Where was the king?" He had forgotten all about him. It was in the throne room that Bartholomew found him. There he sat, old King Derwin, proud and mighty ruler of the kingdom of Did, trembling, shaking, helpless as a baby. His royal crown was stuck to his royal head. The seat of his royal pants were stuck to his royal throne. Oobleck was dripping from his royal eyebrows. It was oozing into his royal ears. "Fetch my magicians, Bartholomew," he commanded. "Make them say some magic words. Make them stop the Oobleck from falling." "I can't fetch them, Your Majesty. Their cave on Mountain Ninkatave is buried deep in the Oobleck." "Then I must think of some magic words," groaned the king. Bartholomew looked the king square in the eye. "You may be a mighty king," he said, "but you're sitting in Oobleck up to your chin, and so is everyone else in your land. And if you won't even say you're sorry, you're no sort of a king at all." Bartholomew Cubbins turned his back. He started for the throne room door. But then Bartholomew heard a great, deep sob. The old king was crying. "Come back, Bartholomew Cubbins, you're right. It is all my fault, and I am sorry. Oh, Bartholomew, I'm awfully, awfully sorry." And the moment the king spoke those words, something happened. Maybe there was something magic in those simple words, "I'm sorry." Maybe there was something magic in those simple words, "It's all my fault." Maybe there was, and maybe there wasn't. But they say that as soon as the old king spoke them, the sun began to shine and fight its way through the storm. They say that the falling Oobleck blobs grew smaller and smaller and smaller. They say that all the Oobleck that was stuck on all the people and on all the animals of the kingdom of Did just simply, quietly melted away. And then they say Bartholomew took the old king by the sleeve and led him up the steps of the high bell tower. He put the bell rope into His Majesty's royal hands, and the king himself rang the holiday bell. Then the king proclaimed a brand new national holiday in honor of the 4 perfect things that come down from the sky. The king now knew that these 4 old-fashioned things, the rain, the sunshine, the fog, and the snow, were good enough for any king in all the world, especially for him, old King Derwin of Did.